little lady.
Break for 30 seconds.
You are now listening to Bad Radio.
Welcome back as we launch into the second hour of Bad Radio. I'm going to run through all of the regular info for those of you who might have just joined us. I am Angela Smorito, your host, and in studio we have our producer Melissa Fox.
Duh.
That's a good one. You'll have to save that one. Next to me we have our beautiful co-host Melissa Jacob.
Hello, hello, hello.
So she is our co-host and she is also our videographer. And if you go to badradio.com under the episodes page, you can see all the previous episodes of the show. She does a beautiful job. And then if you want to see her other work, you can go to strikingbrand.com because she is a photographer as well as a videographer. Yeah. All right. So for our second hour, we have a new guest. Please welcome public adjuster Andre Kratt.
Hello, hello, hello.
Hello, how are we doing?
Mm-hmm.
Why is there laughing?
There
we
go.
There. Don't laugh at my guest.
I'm sorry. I here. Hold on. Let's see if we can do better. Let's see. Andre? Yeah. No.
Oh, that sounded a little depressing.
It is. That's,
all right. I know you got a good one in there.
I do.
We got froggers here. No. Ugh.
That's the other radio station. They ate all the froggers.
You know what? Well, I'm on this radio station, so guess what? We're going to start having food here, too.
Yeah.
So, but Andre actually owns his own adjusting, do you call them adjusting firms?
Adjusting firms, that's correct.
Yes, and it is called Central Florida Property Claims. So, welcome
Thank
to
you.
the show. We have had one public adjuster on before, and that's it. So, but we've had several claims attorneys on before. We've talked a lot about SB2A.
Mm-hmm.
I'm actually quite versed in all of it. And,
yes, she is.
Melissa is too, despite her unwillingness. No, just kidding. No, honestly, I am very, very up to date, and I feel very passionately about that because I feel like the state of Florida is just getting screwed in regards to in regards to homeowners insurance. But that's not what I want to talk about first. First, I want to talk about your background because you and I met. I want to say it was been a couple years ago now.
Yeah, definitely at this point.
Yeah, and it was through BNI channels, but you had just opened your firm. So if you remind me, you used to work for a larger firm, and how did that all work out? You don't have to name any names, just like I'm just trying to get the
names.
history. Yeah. Say how bad they sucked.
You're right, exactly. That's why I left. No, so I worked for a larger firm, started in 2019, and then I worked there for a little over a year and a half or so, and then moved over to my own firm. And at the end of the day, I just saw there were some areas of opportunity to improve the public adjusting business. And I, from my background in sales and background of working for these larger corporations, I knew that I had some skills that I could implement into the business and grow it from there.
So when you went to college, what did you go to school for?
Actually, it was a pre-med major.
Oh,
so,
damn, okay.
Yeah, so I was a pre-med major doing that, about 5 classes away from graduating pre-med. But then I had a daughter pretty young, so I decided, hey, I should probably make some money. And then
yeah, got it. Money is necessary.
Yeah, absolutely. So kind of gauged that and went off to do business.
When you started to work with the public adjusting office, was that sort of just like, hey, I'm going to do this right now to make some money, and then it kind of just like turned into this whole thing?
No, honestly, I was working for a developer at the time, and I had a great income at the time as well. But I saw the opportunity in this industry to grow a business. And kind of like, as you look at it like a realtor, right? Realtors are quite literally everywhere.
I call them a dime. I say a dime a dozen.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there you go. So like in our industry, there's really no public adjusters. People don't know what a public adjuster is.
Mm-hmm.
So I saw the opportunity for business to say, hey, well, if I can produce a great service, then there's going to be a lot of demand. Mm-hmm. And quite honestly, that's how it's turned out.
So question is why don't we know what public adjusters are? I mean, because I understand now what the whole, but trying to get my head around a claims attorney versus a public adjuster, what you can do, what you can't do. Why would somebody go to you before they would go to a claims attorney? There was so many questions, and it kind of like just was in this gray area. So what do you think the reason is? I
think that because how the industry has grown since, say, the early 2000s or maybe just before the 2000s, the industry, we didn't really need a market for our business. Most public adjusters don't need a market because they have relationships with other contractors, with property managers, whatever it may be, to facilitate their needs as contractors and grow their business, and we can help them do that. So I think because of that, a lot of public adjusters don't focus on the marketing side of things. And then I'll also say, I don't think the insurance companies or maybe regulators care so much to help us grow our business.
I would say not.
Yeah, so
Probably not. So is your client, is it a homeowner or is it a contractor or is it both? Because all I can think about right now is the homeowner is the one who's going to hire you. But is that not the case?
no, that's definitely the case. Our homeowners are definitely our clients. They're first and foremost who we look out for and who we need to take care of. But our contractors are just the folks we help kind of facilitate the jobs as well. Because at the end of the day, the homeowner wants to work with their contractor, and we need to help their contractor get the funds to do whatever they need to do.
I gotcha.
So that's why we're kind of.
And then you also are good networking partners with claims attorneys, correct?
Yeah, absolutely. Love our claims attorneys.
Because they need to hire you sometimes to get the legwork part of stuff done for litigation.
Right. Yeah. So we kind of set up the claim from the beginning. So like you're saying, how we compare to the attorneys, we're kind of the first ones out there to say, hey, let's try to settle this with the insurance company so that this claim doesn't drag out. Costs are incurred by all parties involved. So we come into the picture from the beginning to start the claim, filing it to, once again, negotiating that settlement. And then if we can resolve the claim, great. But if not, we've made a file for our attorney to turn around and go ahead and take care of things from there.
Curious what kind of percentage of ones don't have to go over to claims attorneys?
So per insurance company, the percentage is going to be different.
Okay, that makes sense.
In general, it's going to be, let's say, maybe 15% or so have to go to an attorney, but 15% is probably two insurance companies.
So when somebody says, "Oh, I have State Farm," you're like, "Ugh."
Yeah, I wasn't trying to name names,
No, I'll name State Farm all day long.
Okay, yeah. So that's a very high litigation.
I had State Farm when I had to get a new roof, and it was just a pain in the butt. Richie Kidwell? He owns Air Quality Assessors.
It sounds so familiar.
Yeah, he has a show too, Contractor Talk with Richie Kidwell. He helped me go through that whole mess.
Was he on your show recently?
Not recently.
Okay.
I don't know if Richie's ever been on this show.
I don't think so either.
We kind of run in the same circles though. But yes, you follow me on Facebook, then you'll see me promote his show a lot.
Okay.
And actually, he would be great. You'd be great to be on his show too, because he knows way more than I do about any of that stuff. And so back to your background. So after just 1.5 years, you're like, okay, I can do this better. And so you did?
Yeah, absolutely. I spent a lot of time and money flying around the country to speak with other adjusters. I've spent time in Texas, Arizona as well, speaking to other adjusters, just learning the industry. Not every state is the same, but a lot of the processes are the same. So I knew that if I can get in front of people that have 30 years experience, I basically have the access to them. And therefore, there's nothing I don't know at that point.
I like that attitude. It's just like, hey, these are the experts.
Right.
Is public adjusting more popular in different states like Texas?
Absolutely. I would say Texas and Florida are probably the most highly populated as public adjusters.
I'm sorry, can you say it one more time? What state?
Texas and Florida.
Okay.
Have the most public adjusters for sure, just relative to, the storms we have here. But then you run into states, for instance, like Tennessee. Tennessee has really bad insurance laws, so it doesn't make sense to be a public adjuster because sometimes you can't do anything, unfortunately.
What happens in Tennessee? Is it tornadoes? I don't
Right,
even
yeah.
know.
Yeah,
Okay.
tornadoes, hail.
Hail.
Yeah.
Don't think about that too much. What's going on with that? I just think of hurricanes. But I'm also when I think of public adjusters, I have a single thought of just helping people with hurricane. But you guys do a lot more than that, right?
Just any damage.
Yeah, absolutely. Anything property related, so that's commercial and residential. I just picked up a couple of gas station claims. So it's not only just homeowners.
Okay. So you do both residential and commercial. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, absolutely. Because, you still deal with commercial properties, whether it's apartment complexes or, gas stations that suffer large losses.
What about sinkholes?
So sinkholes is a very interesting one because there's a lot of policy endorsements that can have coverage for you, don't have coverage for you. So, but we do handle that as well.
Doesn't Florida supposed to have a bunch of sinkholes?
I think that we have the ability to have sinkholes. I don't know.
I've never
Oh,
seen
yes.
any.
Yes, we lose houses into
Right?
holes all the time
It
around
has
here.
something to do with
We're kind of a peninsula, and
Yeah.
there's water not that far down. It's weird, but
I want to see one. I don't know.
Yeah, the Castle
Fascinated
Park
now.
over in Winter Park, actually, that's a sinkhole.
Oh.
All right, we're going to talk about sinkholes when
Sorry,
we get
guys.
back from break. So stay tuned. We'll be back with more Bad Radio.
Got us on a sinkhole track.
I like that. sinkholes are one of those.
They
like,
fascinate me.
well, I'm scared to death of them.
They'll ruin your whole
yeah.
day. There was a guy who fell in with the house and went over in
I heard
the Tampa area. Or
there's
outside.
certain things that I have like just deathly fear of: sinkholes, quicksand, and drowning.
When have you ever encountered quicksand? though?
Never. It scares
La
me.
Brea Fault.
You would think
Yeah,
there's a
sands.
lot of quicksand everywhere based on elementary
Childhood
school.
stuff. Yeah, I saw something saying that. I was like, that's
Duck
so true.
and cover.
I think
Yes,
it's
that's
just,
true.
I think it's all goes back to just the fear of suffocating.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That's
Yeah.
what it
Not
all.
great.
So when I think about going down in quicksand, it makes my heart just beat fast.
I'm
so
just double checking this camera real quick,
Okay.
and then we can go.
Okay, but I can see it blinking.
so how you
that's
feel?
the
Feel
other one.
good?
Yeah, good.
It's fun.
Yeah,
It
absolutely.
goes by. The 10 minutes go by so fast.
Yeah, that's what I remember from the podcast. We did the same thing, and it was just like that.
Mm.
Is your
Oh,
last
good.
crap? What is that nationality?
It's German.
German.
Oh, impressive.
Thank you.
So were you visiting family just recently?
I was not. No,
Oh, we were just in Germany though, right?
I was. Yeah, I was in.
Stalker. I'm just kidding.
I knew he was out of the country. I was just kidding. 'Cause I was like, hey, he's supposed to be on the show on Thursday.
All right, so you guys ready to start segment number 2 of, or number 6, depending on how you're looking at it?
Yes.
All right, then let's do this thing.
Welcome back to Bad Radio, brought to you by Premier Couple Superstore, because a couple that plays together stays together.
Welcome back. And this portion of the show is brought to you by Forge IT Consulting, providing a fully outsourced IT department with a personal touch for small business. No company is too small. ForgeITConsulting.com. So we are here with Andre Kratt, and he's the owner of Central Florida Property Claims, and we are talking about sinkholes, and that's something I never thought of. And so like I said, I just think of hurricanes. But what are some of the other? Is it natural disasters? But it's not just natural; it's just things that go wrong with the home.
Yeah.
Or commercial property.
Yeah, absolutely. It's actual accidental damage to the property, so that can be water damage, fire damage, vandalism. I had a claim recently to where the tenants turned the place into a grow house, and
Is that for weed?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, so ruined the whole entire house, and that was a claim I'm handling. So
Oh, wow. Didn't think about
Interesting.
that. Well,
Yeah.
because a lot of the people that we've talked to are so dependent on their business is dependent on the storms that come. And if there's not a big storm season, then, they're struggling to make ends meet.
absolutely.
You're not in that situation.
Not necessarily, exactly. Obviously, when the storms hit, Hurricane Ian made us busy.
Are you still
for,
doing claims for Ian?
I am still filing them. The last time to file a new claim for Ian is coming up at the end of this week, so we're still getting a few in.
Oh, wait. So people can still file claims? For
Yeah, so in
Hurricane
Florida,
Ian
up to
damage?
1 year. Up to
Okay.
1 year from the date of loss, and then if it's a claim that's already filed,
Mhm.
we can reopen it for up to 18 months.
When
Wow.
was Ian? I know it was a year ago, but wasn't it it was like just this week?
Yes, like September 28th to the 30th,
Mm,
give or take.
I vaguely remember it. It was awful. Our house flooded. It was awful.
Did it? Oh,
Uh-huh.
man.
Well, we have, and they've guys heard this story so many times. I'm sorry, but we have a sunken living room. We live in Winter Springs, and we already had a ton of water anyway. And then it got like 22 inches just overnight, and our power didn't go off. We thought everything was fine, and we kept smelling like this real earthy smell. And then I was walking by, and the light reflected off the water
Right.
that was in the sunken living room, and we realized that it was like all underwater.
Yeah.
So we had to get in there and fish everything out, and of course, no flood insurance. And trust me, I've already had somebody look at it. I mean, we actually have a line in our thing that says this does not apply to
Mhm. Don't even try it.
exactly.
Basically.
Right.
So, but yeah, it was a nightmare. So, that's interesting. Like I said, I didn't realize that there was so many different types of things that public adjusters do. So right now, what do you do to get your? Are you just mostly referral based?
Yeah, I would say right now we're easily 98% referral based. One thing we're focusing on, actually with the help of your daughter,
Mhm.
is our social media presence and actually going more to an online approach.
Mm-hmm.
So we're working on that to see how it ends up. Once again, people don't know what a public adjuster is. So from my perspective, I don't think it's a highly Googled term.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm still going to try it, see how it goes.
Oh, yeah.
But I do believe from Hurricane Ian, the feedback we got from down south was talked about more. So when we speak to homeowners, they're saying, "Oh yeah, I think I actually might need a public adjuster." To me, I'm like, "Oh wait, what? You know what a public adjuster is? That's amazing, right?"
Right.
So I think I think what's going to change as well is the fact that as the attorney's fee statute is now gone, what's going to happen is we're basically the last hope for a homeowner
Right.
to get funds.
Mhm.
So I think our business will grow in that sense. Then we'll just have to kind of battle the difficulties of the insurance companies, and then from there, kind of see how things work
He
out.
needs some educational reels on.
Yeah, no, we'll get some, we'll build some reels from this because
Yeah.
Melissa can like break it up and then Anna can put it into your social media because like right now, the social media that I'm seeing is so much of it is informational, but the important thing is what happens is the more of that stuff that goes out, when people Google things, you have a much likelier, like the likelihood of it popping up, especially if like they're all related and they have words like storm damage or keywords that people put in when they've got problems, because that's what's going to happen is that the more information that companies like yours start doing on an educational piece for public adjusters, that's the only way that people are going to find out about it. I mean,
Absolutely.
and like you said, let's just remind the audience real quick about what you said in regards to insurance or attorney's fees. So you want to go through that real quick?
Yeah, absolutely. As of December of last year, any new policy that goes into place after December 15th of 2022 will no longer have the attorney's fee statute, which basically, prior to that date said that, hey, if you have an insurance claim, your insurance company may be underpaid you, denied your claim, whatever it may be. And public adjuster, unfortunately, can't get the job taken care of for whatever reason, then you can go ahead and hire an attorney. Once that attorney wins that case, those fees are now pushed onto the insurance company, and it's not a out-of-pocket expense for the homeowner, right? Now, as you can imagine, on a $20,000, $30,000 loss, maybe a middle to lower income family home, right? That's a lot of money. Attorney's fees might be $15,000 on that, but it's kind of what they needed to do, unfortunately.
Right.
Now, that statute is gone. So what's going to happen is the homeowners now have to front the cost of the attorneys and then hope that the insurance company doesn't drag this out for
Right.
3-4 years. And then, they're in a position of, okay, I'm risking 3-4 years of work and potentially not getting paid.
Right.
Right. Because the homeowner's not going to have the funds to pay them, quite frankly.
Well, I mean, once everything's said and done, whatever the settlement is, the attorneys have to take their pay out of that. So if it's a
Exactly.
$30,000 settlement and they've done $15,000 work, then the homeowner only has $15,000 to do $30,000 worth of work. And we've talked about this before.
Right.
And talked about like that there's going to be a huge increase of people taking out loans to try to fix that stuff. That's what people should do, is just like start a funding business that just does that sort of thing for that specific thing.
Right.
I don't know how that works. So,
Right.
just put that on the back burner there.
I think a couple hedge funds will do it.
Right. I mean, like I said, I think of HELOCs because people have
Yeah.
equity in their home, and how else are they going to come across money like that? Unless they can like qualify for an SBA loan, because SBA does do loans for damage. Because I know that's how we got a lot of our stuff fixed, is because we didn't have insurance or flood insurance, and we qualified for the SBA loan at a really, really low interest rate, and it's like 30 years. So the payment is just like nothing.
Nice,
I know.
nice, nice.
That's how the French drains got there. So
Thank
yay.
you. Thank
I
you,
know it
SBA
can
loan.
rain now, and I don't like sweat
Freak
to
out,
death.
yeah.
So I'm just keep going back to this because I'm very impressed that after a year and a half that you decided to launch your own company. So how did you start? Just you? Or did you did you pirate some people from the company and be like, okay, we're going to go on our own?
Yeah, no, 100% by myself. So I did that for about 6 months.
That's really brave. She did the same thing.
Yeah.
I'm too chicken to do
High
something like that.
Yeah, no, definitely. I was jumped out pretty quick and went off on myself. Once again, I work with some good corporations, so I've seen what it takes to have a structured business. So I took a lot of those skills that I learned there and said, okay, I'm just going to copy them. And then from there, I eventually had enough business pretty early on to then be able to hire people, hire an admin, virtual admin, then in-person admin, then hire another person on top of that. So, once the ball was rolling, it's.
And so you said
It's
that was
going.
I'm sorry, you said that was 2020 or 2019? I can't remember now.
Yes, I was 2020 is when I went off by myself.
And how many employees do you guys have now?
Right now have 3 total.
Nice.
And I was just actually telling her a moment ago, we're looking to hire 2 people right now as well, 2 new adjusters.
Okay, let's talk about that. So
Yeah.
you're hiring.
Absolutely.
All right. So what is the qualifications for a new adjuster?
So really the main thing I look for is just sales experience. That's gonna be kind of the
Really?
yeah, the main thing is just sales experience. And in business, this is one of the things I've learned. It's been pretty true. Is that as long as you can generate business, the rest is going to come, right? We have access to the people who have the information. At this point, it's me, right? I have the information to tell you how to adjust a claim. If you can generate your business, though, then you're going to be successful.
So it would be a commission-based position?
Yeah, absolutely. So our businesses are essentially 100% commission based with some draw in there as well. But it's a position that as long as you work hard and you're just in front of people, just like how you and I met, right?
Yeah.
That was years ago at this point. And now, we're still at this point.
Well, it makes me think of the roofers. Like, what do they call them? Not managers, but a lot of the roofers that you see in BNI are not actually the people that are climbing up on the roof, hammering shingles. They're, what do they call them? Are they managers? They think they call
like
them
account managers or something
account
like that,
managers.
I imagine.
And really what they are is they're salespeople that sell roofs for whatever roofing, Karma Roofing or whatever it might be.
Right.
So it's kind of the same situation.
Yeah, absolutely. Exactly like that. So if you have good customer service, you can sell somebody, and we're not really selling anybody anything. We're just saying, hey, we're going to help you get money. And if we help you get money, we'll get some money back.
Money is good. All right, we're going to talk more with Andre when we get back from break, so stay tuned.
Would you like more Bad Radio? Go to BAADradio.com and start networking now.
That's a snoozer song right there. It's like,
Yeah.
No, it's not.
Slow, but I love that song.
Yeah,
It's
I knew
so
you would.
pretty.
It's not really a snoozer. It's actually pretty, so yeah.
Andre, that's really cool though, because like I've talked to a lot of people in the industry, and a lot of them are having to let people go.
Oh, right now? Yeah.
Because of the lack of storms.
Right. So I think once again, I can see the perspective there. So what I was thinking about doing is I wanted to bring somebody on as like a salary person that's only networking and stuff. But the reality is I do think there's going to be a decline in the income potential in the industry.
Because of the non-active season we've had.
Non-active season, but also I think there's going to be a percentage of claims that will no longer be able to be.
Save it for the show.
So, if that's the case,
This is
then
what happened behind the scenes.
if you have people that are on salary
to
and
save
not
it
just
for the
straight commission,
show.
then it's hey, this doesn't make sense anymore.
Yeah, let's talk about that though.
Yeah, let's talk about that. Save it for the show. All right.
Good content.
We're coming
Yeah.
back, baby.
Welcome back to Bad Radio, brought to you by Premier Couple Superstore, because a couple that plays together stays together.
Oh, yeah.
Welcome back, and this portion of the show is brought to you by Liberty Property Inspections. Your home is one of your most important investments, so don't trust it to just anyone. LibertyPropertyInspections.net, helping you protect your investment. So we're talking with public adjuster Andre Kratt, and he owns Central Florida Property Claims. And before break, he actually mentioned that he was hiring, and so during the break, we started talking a little bit, and it's like, okay, save it for the show part. And so what I said to Andre is that I was impressed that he's hiring because the conversations I've had with people in the same industry are saying that because we've had such a non-active storm season that they're actually having to let people go. So I'm impressed that you're looking to grow when other people are saying, okay, we're nervous, we're going to let people go. So, but let's just finish. Let's pick up that conversation where we were.
Sure, yeah, absolutely. No pun intended, but at the end of the day, you have to weather the storm always, right? Because of the legislation, I believe there's going to be a decline in income potential for people in this industry. But at the end of the day, it's going to bounce back eventually.
I always say there's always a workaround. It's just figuring out what that is.
A decline because of the change of the law? Or just decline because of...
Yeah, great question, actually. So I'm glad, because we were talking about that a moment ago. But so the change in the laws will make some claims just impossible to handle with some insurance companies. Therefore, the amount of claims that you're able to settle, for instance, right now, say if we're able to settle 100 a year, right? If 25% of those are gone because if they're working with insurance companies that are no longer settling claims, we can no longer file suit. They're just kind of dead, right? So the potential of claims is just down. So what I think will happen, though, is as we hire people, maybe the focus is no longer, okay, there's no storm, so it's no longer roof claims, right? If 90% of our business right now is roof claims, well, okay, well, that means we need to reach other people. Let's say a property manager that hires or that manages 100 properties.
Right.
Well, they have water leaks all the time. So how do we get in front of those property managers to say, hey, not only are we an asset to you so we can take away your stress of handling this claim, but we're going to help your homeowner get what they need for their claim, right?
Right. No, I think that's brilliant.
Yeah, so if we can just shift the focus to out of roof claims to maybe more water claims, more vandalism claims, whatever it may be, right? We're able to help people with anything, so we need to get in front of them.
Right. So you just have to think like outside of the box as far
Absolutely.
as all the different things besides, like that's the point was I was trying to make is like, I think of hurricanes only, but there are other things that can be covered on that.
Right.
I did also, and I was curious, I did also hear that insurance companies are mostly just sticklers when it comes to storm damage and not so much fire damage but how is that true, or are they just kind of strict across the board?
Absolutely not true. So
Okay.
I would argue kind of the opposite to where water claims are sometimes my least favorite claims because insurance
Did you
companies
say, I'm sorry, your least favorite?
least favorite
Okay, yeah.
claims. Yeah, because the water claims are the ones that, you get a leak behind your shower, right? You don't discover it for a month. So the insurance company says, oh, well, you didn't discover it in 14 days, so we're going to deny the claim. Not saying that's right, but that's an argument they'll use. So I would say that in general, they're just pretty difficult. Or an example would be a fire claim. I just had to do a fire claim for a good friend of mine. The insurance company came out, paid $190,000, and we settled the claim around $330,000.
Wow.
So
they just tried to like undercut it.
Right.
They
I mean,
didn't
you look
wanna
at it and
cover-
you say, how are you, 100% off on the estimating. So but at the end of the day, it's the process.
Yeah, so that's a big thing is like the estimating part, right?
Yeah.
Because how do you keep up to date with the cost of goods and property? And because I that's what the claims attorneys use you a lot for as well, is putting that stuff together, right?
Yeah, that is correct. So everyone uses basically the same system called Xactimate. And that system pulls data from your local area and says, hey, here's the cost of these items and so forth. So we all build our estimates on the same system, with the exception to one or two insurance companies.
Right. I
And
think
then-
we've heard about that before,
We
haven't
have
we? With
100%.
storm
Yeah.
consultants.
As soon as he said that, I was like, "Yep, heard that."
Yeah, that guy
you looking
Ken
for a job?
Sider, right? Yeah, Ken Sider, right?
Yes.
No, you cannot have you cannot have Melissa. Thank you very much.
I was like, "Whoa, whoa, whoa, whoa."
She's over.
Hey, hey, hey. Shh, shh, shh.
Yeah, we had a guy named Ken Sider, and he's an environmentalist from down south.
Okay.
And he's working with a group called Storm Consultants. And I'll introduce you to them too, because they do what they are putting together is just kind of coalition of people like yourself in the industry that when damage happens, somebody can call Storm Consultants and they'll kind of figure out what it is that they need or who they need to talk to. And they work with the homeowners to find out the best case scenario for getting them back to whole.
Right. Yeah. And
So-
sometimes it takes a team like that.
Yeah.
Quite honestly. Yeah.
Well, also, I mean, I hate saying it, but there's just a lot of bad reputation, especially with roofers and contractors, where they come in and people just have a bad taste in their mouth because they come in, they give the estimate, they take the check, and then they run.
Right.
Does that still happen like it used to?
I don't think.
I think Florida made it harder for us.
Yeah, I personally
for
don't think so. In this day and age, we're not dealing with. You can't find somebody on the internet anymore, right?
Right.
You can find anyone on the internet. You can do your research to do that. I don't think that happens as much as it used to. I would say, on that same point you're saying, there is some issues with maybe, okay, is this price that's being negotiated really that reasonable? And I would say I see that sometimes where, the estimates are through the roof and it's like, hey, we probably don't need to do it for that much.
Yeah, but
That's
sometimes,
just reality.
yeah, sometimes the insurance companies will say, okay, we'll pay for 1/4 of the roof or 1/3 of the roof. And I'm like, how do you match 1/3 of a roof to the other? I mean, you're going to have like, that's what they do, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's something you'll see in a policy. And we'll start seeing in more policies where we're saying, hey, we're not going to match this. We're not going to match that. And I believe that's going to be the next thing the insurance companies are going to
Right.
attack in
What
Florida
is that
is the
new
matching
roof? What
statute.
is that new roof? There's something going on with roofs. What
Say that
is
again.
it? There is something going on with roofs. It's like 10 years old. What is that?
So yeah, 15 years old, they have to insure you. If it's less than 15 years old, they can't drop your policy. But if it's over 15 years, they'll say, okay, well, if you get an inspection done by a certified person stating that it has at least 5 years left, then you can go ahead and keep your insurance. But with that same thing is they're now adding in specific roof deductibles. So the roof deductible could be 50% of the roof's cost, meaning they
Oh, wow. So
they
you have to
approve-
come out of
What?
pocket 10 grand for a $20,000 roof?
Right.
Oh,
And
yeah.
in my experience, most homeowners don't realize they have these deductibles in their policy. So they get to an insurance claim, and I say, hey, oh yeah, just by the way, you purchased this policy with a 50% roof deductible. They're like, wait, what? And that's when they find out about it. And unfortunately, it's one of those things that.
Will you
is
read
what it
over
is.
people's policy for them?
Oh, absolutely.
How
Yeah,
much do you charge for that?
that's free. Just
Is it?
give us a call, send it to us. We've read so many policies at this point that we can go through them pretty quickly.
Because you
So-
know where the key points are of where they
Yeah.
try to do stuff. Right.
Exactly.
So for that roofing, sorry, I'm going to go back
No,
just
no,
a little
yeah,
bit.
go
But
ahead.
for
Yeah.
that roofing thing, you said it has to be 15 years or younger, or else they ask you to do an inspection. And if they don't say that it has 5 more years, basically they can drop your insurance unless you get a new roof put on.
That is correct. Yeah.
And you have to pay the
Jesus.
full amount for that roof?
Right. Exactly. So yeah, you just have to get a
Wow.
cash bid or finance it, however it may be.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think my roof is good.
Yeah.
You're worried. You're
yeah,
worried.
I know. I mean, that's a lot of money, and oh my goodness. Yeah.
Mhm. Well, I know a lot of the businesses are we're hoping for storms. I'm personally glad that we didn't have any just because
Yeah,
I
she's
need to
like,
breathe
I'm
from last year. I am traumatized.
Traumatized from my sunken living room becoming a pool.
Right. Absolutely. Did you see a lot of claims coming from the Winter Springs Oviedo area?
From Hurricane Ian.
Yeah.
Yeah, most definitely. I would say a lot from flood, which
Oh, yeah.
which I've never experienced myself even.
Where
did
you're over in Metro West? No, where were
Baldwin
you?
Park.
Baldwin Park.
Yeah.
Okay.
Did you have a higher concentration in one area versus?
In Orlando specifically, I would say the Maitland area, the
Mhm.
Maitland towards Winter Springs area had a lot of flooding
Mhm.
issues. All of our claims came from mainly down south, to be honest.
Oh, okay.
We spent about 6 months down there essentially.
How far south?
We were Sarasota, all
Is
the
that
way down
from
to
Ian?
Fort Myers.
That happened from Ian?
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah.
I didn't realize that I guess I was so focused on what was happening here
Mhm.
that I wasn't paying attention to it doing so much damage down south. So you service the whole state of Florida. Is there any particular area? You said mostly down south, or it's just
Yeah, we'll do obviously the greater Central Florida area,
uh-huh.
but with an event like Hurricane Ian, to where we can go there and stay there for a while,
Mhm.
we'll go down there to service those claims because they're of course larger claims.
Mhm.
But other than that, we're typically 3 hours outside of Orlando. We'll help anybody out.
Yeah, I'm fascinated to find out how you got those contacts though to get
Oh,
that business.
absolutely.
So when we get back, we're going to talk more with Andre. So stay tuned for more Bad Radio.
Angeles Marito, Melissa Jacob, Andre Kratt, and I, Melissa Fox, will be right back. You're listening to Bad Radio on News Radio WFLA, Orlando.
No, I just have to.
What was the name of that song from the other break? I forgot what that was called.
Fade in, fades in, something like that.
Oh, you're right.
Fade
Especially
out, I don't
after
Fade
4
in.
hours or
This is 2 hours. I don't know how those guys do it for 4 hours.
yeah.
I mean, she's got headphones on all day long, and I'm just like.
Yeah, it usually hurts my ear after a while.
So you know what I need to do is I need to get wire frame glasses that don't, because what happens is the glasses and this pushes it like that. So get me some.
I got a big old head, so
Mhm. All right, so this last segment, when we are
You have
a
a very good
minute
view.
from the end, Andre, when we're a minute from the end, you'll hear the
Thank you,
music.
appreciate it.
Hello. You'll hear the music about a minute from the end. That's when we start giving out our credentials so people can get a hold of us, all of our,
So when-
websites, whatever.
So when your music plays, we have 1 minute.
Okay?
Okay.
All right. So, final segment. You ready there, ears?
Almost. There she is.
All right. Here we go, folks.
Welcome back to Bad Radio, brought to you by Premier Couple Superstore, because a couple that plays together stays together.
Welcome back, and I would love to give a huge thank you to our sponsor, Bolts Legal. Fear no storm with boltslegal.com. 33 tanning spa with locations in Altamont Springs and Longwood. Andrews Law PA, auto accident attorney. You can contact Jen Andrews at andrewslawpa.com. Crazy Muscle Nutrition at 1015 Unit 129 State Road 436 in Castleberry. That is their new location. And our newest sponsor, Imbalance Body Work. You can find them at 101 Lake Mary Boulevard. And their number is 407-801-8502. Or you can email them at info@nbalance.com. And that's ENBALANCE.com. All right, we're here with the last segment when we're talking with a public adjuster. His name is Andre Kratt, and he owns Central Florida Property Claims. And we've talked about a whole bunch of different things in regards to property claims in the places that he services. But I mean, as far as getting the word out about your business, and you've done a lot of organic, like just referral stuff, and now you're doing the social media stuff. What are some of the I just always ask people this: what services do you provide? If you were able to just to say, "Hey, this is what I do. This is what it's a good referral."
Yeah, absolutely. I would say the main thing I try to tell folks outside of that I'm a public adjuster is we're here to help people manage their insurance claim process so that at the end of the day they end up where they're supposed to be, right? So if anything happens to your property, it's probably a good idea to give us a call and say, hey, we can help you with this. It's worth you doing this, or it's not, because that's what we're here to do. We know what the insurance companies do. We know how they act, so we can let people know this is great, this is not so great.
Mm-hmm. But I think the thing about going through people's policies is something that's really worth shouting about, to be quite honest with you, because I mean, as people's policies, especially like, for example, for me, my policy is up in October, which means that I've got, Rob Pelton with Pontel Insurance shopping for me, but this will be my first policy since the law change. So I don't really know what to do or what to think of. But if you think about that, you offer that service to say, hey, if you don't understand your insurance policy, let me read it and I will tell you what's good or not. Do you work with like insurance brokers in situations like that?
Occasionally. We have a different viewpoint, right? So our viewpoint is how the insurance companies handle their claims, not what they cost. So we actually, I do love your point there, is that we should promote that service probably a little more because we're definitely willing to do it. And I always tell my clients, if I have a client that has State Farm, I tell them every time, go find a different insurance company after the claim is complete. And then after that, give me a call. I'll look at the policy for you and say, I think you might need to change this or add this in. Oh, hey, there's this limit here. Let me explain to you what that means if this happens. So that's something we're definitely always willing to do. And
I think that service is very valuable. And especially if you're not going to charge for it and then people are going to like you. Because, I mean, do you mind like when I post the show, if I'm like, this is his email address. If you want him to look at your policy, or if you're coming up for a renewal and you want it, somebody that knows what they're talking about. Because we've talked about policies before, and they're thick and they have lots of words that normal people don't understand. And then it's like if it's a DocuSign, you flip through it to the last page and you hit the button and then you move on and you pay the bill when it comes. So.
And then next thing you know, you're paying half of your roof.
Yep, I have a client going through it right now, trying to sell his home, and he's going to get 50% of the roof.
Oh, jeez. I always feel so bad. And like you said, there's a lot of people that are in that situation where they just can't afford it. I mean, they don't have that kind of cash. So go ahead. Sorry, I'm so sorry.
Do you have any like common like misconceptions or like common questions people ask you repeatedly about being a public adjuster?
About being a public adjuster?
Or what you do?
Yeah, I would say the most common question I get is about deductibles. How does a deductible work? So I have homeowners that believe, okay, if I have a $2,000 deductible, that means that when I file a claim, I better be ready to pay $2,000. And that's not the case. It's paid at the very, very end. And once you're ready to get your work done, it's paid to your contractor doing the work, right? But as far as being a public adjuster, I think that people get a little bit scared about the percentage we have, but we charge a percentage for a reason, because state requires us to, right? But our percentage is always going to be irrelevant at the end of the day because of what we recover you. So if we get you enough money for all of your repairs, and quite frankly, usually our fee is sometimes wrapped into that settlement as well, then that kind of is what it is, right?
Well, that seems like the smart way to do it.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, once again, we don't want to put people at a disadvantage by using our services, and we track how much money we recover for people. We track the increase in value we bring them, and it's well over 20%.
Oh, I'm sure. I'm absolutely sure.
It's well over 20%.
And just the peace of mind, too, of being able to know that you don't have to worry about it, because that's stressful. There was something that I think that you could answer for me, too, is flood insurance. Because is flood insurance not offered by regular insurance companies?
Yeah, so flood insurance is a federal program. So that's why flood insurance is so difficult to work with.
Is that just the state of Florida, or is that all the United States, or is it different per state?
Yeah, so it's federal program, so it's all going to go through the same federal program. But at the end of the day, they're always going to be difficult wherever they are.
Oh.
And this kind of goes back to the point of the attorney's fee statute going away. Well, we can't sue the federal government.
Oh, why not? Why ever not?
So therefore, when you deal with these claims, the flood company or the flood insurance adjusters will come out and they'll write the best they can. but it's usually a pretty light estimate. And they're not going to do much else after that.
When you say a light estimate, what do you mean? So they're going to say the damage is only a small amount of what it really is?
The cost of this is only $5,000, when in reality, if we were running this through a typical insurance company, that cost may be $30,000, and we'd be confidently getting that. But with the flood program, they just don't really care. I mean, not they don't care, but you know what I mean. You can't really adjust their claims too much.
Right.
Yeah, unfortunately.
So we don't live in a flood zone. And so that's why we didn't have flood insurance. Do you recommend people still look at it, even if they're not in a flood zone?
Since last year, I would say I would look at it. I would wager the cost of, okay, how much is it? If it's cost me $500 a month and I'm not in a flood zone, maybe put that aside and don't get a flood insurance. But me personally, if I was not in a flood zone, I would not get it, based on my experience of working with flood claims and knowing that they're not going to give me that much anyway.
Right.
It's not going to be worth it.
Is that really what this almost like? Is like $500 a month? Because that's a lot of money.
I mean, for maybe a average home, it might be a little less, but it's not cheap.
I don't know. Is Oviedo in a flood zone?
No, I don't think so. Not where we are.
Yeah. Well, did you? We're not that far apart from each other. Did
No,
you
but it
guys
was-
get a lot of water from Ian?
We did get water, but nothing really flooded. But the neighborhood across the street from us, we had people who were like getting things out of their house and all of that, 'cause the bottom level, like Live Oak area.
I contacted FEMA and they gave us $300.
Right.
And I was like, thanks.
What would so you said that you wouldn't get the flood insurance if you weren't in a flood zone, just because you know how much they would give you. What would your solution be? Just having like an emergency fund for stuff like that?
I would
on
do
the
an emergency
side?
fund, put into some type of money market account, let it grow a little bit, but it's easily accessible. Once again, it's maybe not for everybody, but I think that's a great option if that's something you're concerned about.
Yeah. So like I said, I did an SBA loan, but it was so difficult. And the only reason I got it is because it's impossible to like make me stop when I decide that I want to get something done.
Yeah.
And they denied me, I'd say 4 or 5 times. And I was just like, yeah, no, that's not going to work because of this, and I just kept going and going and going until finally they're like, oh my gosh, okay, you're approved. Here's your money. Leave us alone.
Yeah.
But I meant, are there any other service or any other programs like that? Now I know we're coming to a break, so just
The end.
The end. So just real quick,
Yeah, really quick. There's the Florida My Safe Home, which is I might have said that incorrectly, but basically what it does is it will give you, if you spend a dollar on protecting your property prior to a hurricane, you can apply to this grant program and they'll give you $2 back for protecting your property.
That's
right?
really
So you spend
interesting.
$500, we'll give you $1,500.
I'm gonna get some more
something you gotta apply
information
for
from
sure.
you on that, so that I'll write it up, and
Yeah.
then when we post the show, we'll get all that information out there. But right now,
Sure.
give everybody your contact information.
Yeah, absolutely. Once again, my name is Andre Kratz. My direct number. Feel free to shoot a call, send me a text. If you want me to look at your policy, whatever it may be. I'm happy to do it. My team's happy to do it. My number is 321-977-1388. You can also take a look at our website, cflclaims.com. And my email address is andre@cflclaims.com.
All right, and you can find me at melissa@strikingbrand.com.
And I am Angela, and you can reach me at 321-303-6424. Huge thank you to our sponsors, and thank you for tuning in. Have a great week, everyone.
We'll do it again next Sunday at 11 o'clock. Be there or be square.
It goes so
It's
fast.
getting
We'll have to
hot.
have you on again.
Yeah.
So, yeah.